Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be kind of giving a comical view or vantage point on Easter and egg hunting, and I'm going to go through all 12 zodiac signs and talk about what could be their approach to it, and through a very comical, facetious means, of course. So, now the first sign, Aries. Well, Aries is known to be a leader and be very aggressive and assertive. So I think when it comes to egg hunting on Easter, I could see Aries really trying hard to be the best. They always want to come out on top, and I think you're going to see them really put a very concerted effort into finding the most eggs on this day. If you have an Aries that could be a participant in as far as egg hunting goes. Now, the next sign, talk about Taurus. Now, Taurus is very methodical. They go at their slow, steady pace. Many people know that. Taurus can be very untiring in trying to find these eggs, very persistent. They might start very slow, but they might pick up the pace later on and may come away with more eggs than the average person, maybe due to the fact because of their own tenacity and persistence. Taurus has that stick-to-itiveness ability. So I think we could see Taurus really at least making a very strong effort to get the most eggs. They may not get many in the first part of the deal in terms of the competition, but maybe in that second half they pick up the pace. Now, let's go to Gemini. Now, Gemini is very, we know they're very intellectual. They're very smart. I think Gemini would actually be more apt to be the one that hides the eggs as opposed to actually to going out on this quest trying to find them, because Gemini is not exactly known for their persistence and stick-to-itiveness. Now, you could see Gemini maybe putting some eggs maybe in a TV shell, maybe a TV that has the interior taken out of it, open up the TV and maybe hide one or two in there thinking nobody will find it. I remember hiding something on somebody one time. It wasn't an egg, but it was a food item, and I had opened one of those old time clocks that you had at work back in the prehensile days, when you put your paper in it and you'd hit like a button or a lever or something, and it would punch in that time. And I had opened that up, and I hid some food on somebody one time, and ironically that person had Gemini rising, and she was outmaneuvered in that particular instance. So Geminis are very shrewd and they may be the best at actually hiding the eggs. Now, we go to Cancer. Now, Cancer, I think often food equals love with Cancer. So I think with the zodiac sign Cancer, is what's significant about this is to make sure that they don't wind up eating the eggs that they may actually find, because they have Cancer. It's not so much they have an exorbitant appetite per se, but I think they just have the love of food. So better keep an eye on a Cancer if he or she is on this quest to find Easter eggs. Now, I'm going to go to Leo. Now, Leo is very regal and royal. They're dignified. They definitely don't want to lose in an egg finding competition. They're going to do whatever. They're going to do what they can to make sure they win. I'd be careful and make sure they don't maybe have any Easter eggs hidden in their pockets or something and say, well, I found all these eggs. Maybe have the eggs marked a certain way, so they can't maybe fabricate and say I found more eggs than the person may say I found more eggs than I actually did. I'm only joking about these things though, people. Now, Virgo. We know Virgo is very analytical. Virgo, maybe I find Virgo having a hard time finding the eggs because they're going through all this mental analysis and maybe not actually moving. They're more about thinking and trying to figure out in their minds, well, what would be the most logical place to look? Or will the eggs actually be in the most illogical place? That's something to consider when a Virgo sun, moon, or ascendant may be looking for Easter eggs. And they might be spending a lot of time analyzing each one and trying to find the exact composition of each egg. So, and I think that's something which might actually hold them back. But in all seriousness, Virgos, being as intellectual as they are, could actually find a good amount of eggs, I believe, in all seriousness, in an Easter egg hunting competition. Now, Libra is the sign of that balance. The scale is like this symbol for them. So I look at Libras, and I think they could be very well. They may not be so much into going on their quest to find these eggs. Maybe they want to make sure that all the eggs are about the same weight, and that it's all fair and balanced, and they want to make sure that there's not somebody that, or maybe they want to make sure if when the eggs are dispersed in place, they're fairly dispersed evenly around the area, so not one person has that much advantage over another. Say if one person goes to one spot and finds one egg, and then there's 3 or 4 more within 5 feet, that same person may very well find the others, as example. So Libras are about being equitable and fair, so I think they want to be fair-minded as far as Easter egg hunting would go. Now we'll go to Scorpio. Now Scorpio, we know, can be very intense and very willful at times, and let's just hope that Scorpio don't try to rehide any eggs after they've already been hidden, or do something that, because Scorpios can also be surreptitious at times, and they may want to do something, may not even really worry necessarily about winning, but maybe they'll rehide some of these eggs. But I think with Scorpio can actually be very good at hiding the eggs, I believe, because they have that kind of mind that makes that really kind of can kind of know, maybe it has such good penetrating insight, and maybe by having this, be able to detect where these people are going to least likely look for the eggs. So I think because of that, they can they're about mystery, and if anybody can actually create one, maybe Scorpio can. So I think that's something to consider. Now we'll go to Sagittarius. Now Sagittarius, we know, is very expansive, exuberant, and optimistic, and if anything, Sagittarius is going to revel in something like this, and they'll really enjoy it big time. But I could say maybe Sagittarius would like to maybe make a sport out of this, because there are just a lot of Sagittarian people, sun, moon, and ascendant. They have this affinity for the outdoors and for sports and athletics. Maybe they'll toss the egg around. Maybe they'll create a game and say, okay, let's toss this egg around and see whoever drops it first gets knocked out of the competition, and whoever's the last one remaining that doesn't drop the egg is the winner, as an example. So I think I'd be careful, because Sagittarius might turn this into an actual sport and deviate from the actual egg hunting. So the next sign, Capricorn. Well, we know Capricorn can be very serious and very stern and businesslike and orthodox, and they're gonna really, they may take the egg hunting thing maybe a little more seriously than maybe it should. I guess it could be advantageous for them in that respect, because they could just they'll have that single-minded focus and have that serious attention on this. But I just don't want Capricorn to become too dejected or despondent if they happen to lose, and I think that's the one thing, because Capricorns can become somewhat melancholy and sad, and they have to remember it would just be a fun competition. So that's one thing to remember. Now with Aquarius, well, Aquarius is just can be eccentric and unpredictable, and who really knows what Aquarius might do in this particular case. Maybe they'll roll the dice. Maybe they'll say, well, I'll do this or I won't, or maybe they'll do something like I stated before, like the rehiding of the eggs. Maybe they'll wind up winning. Maybe they're just so thinking can be very superior. This could be that one that comes out, and even if they didn't win, they hadn't won any competition before, maybe they'll just fool somebody and win this one. So I think, but also you have to remember that Aquarius is known for their originality. Maybe they'll try to balance some eggs, or maybe they'll actually invent something that will enable them to carry their eggs in a much quicker way, in a much easier manner, as they're finding it, as opposed to the other person. Maybe they'll come up with an egg detector, and because they're just so ingenious and innovative. So anyway, last but not least, Pisces. Well, Pisces is similar to Gemini, being that kind of ambivalent and indecisive. So with Pisces, I could see them kind of going all over the place looking for these eggs, but they're just so drawn by their intuitive prowess. So they might actually, a lot of times Pisces will surprise people and they'll accomplish more than people think, because Pisces kind of can be somewhat nebulous sometimes, and they look like they may not be really into whatever it is they're doing, or cognizant of what's going on, what has to be done, but they'll surprise people, and they actually, through their intuitive ability, their insight, they might be able to kind of forecast where a lot of these eggs are located. So anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment for the zodiac signs Easter egg hunting. And I want to wish everybody that watches this video and celebrates Easter a very happy and convivial time this Easter. And two things I want to get with you on before I head out. Firstly, the stars may impel but do not compel. And secondly, never isolate any single astrological element, aspect, planetary placement, position, configuration, influence, or what have you, and make an analysis of a person, astrologically speaking, based on this alone. Because astrologically speaking, a person is the sum of all their components in their natal chart, and not just one. Until next time, people, stay well.